You're watching the countdown to the Syracuse mayoral debate on CitrusTV. Here now is Ben Bascuk.
Welcome to the KG Ton Auditorium. We are moments away from Citrus TV's mayoral town hall, but first, let's meet the candidates who will be joining us tonight. Starting off with Tom Babylon for the Republicans. He's lived in Syracuse for 22 years, acting as assistant corporate counsel for the city from 2008 to 2018. He led initiatives in housing, business development, and acted as the city's labor and employment attorney for 3 years. He ran in mayor in 2021, losing the primary to Jeanette Berman. Moving on to Alfonso Davis, running on the Independent Integrity Accountability Collaboration line. He's a longtime Syracuse activist, born and raised in the city, and previously ran for mayor 3 times. Sharon Owens is running as the Democrat, serving as deputy mayor for Ben Walsh since 2018, beating Pat Hogan and Cholma Joke in the primary. She is also appearing on the party line for Working Families. Independent Tim Rudd is running on the Independent Transparency and Accountability line. He was the city's budget director from 2020 to 2025 before being fired by the city for comments regarding Sharon Owens. Those are the candidates, so now we welcome you to our pre-show panel, featuring Chair of the City of Syracuse Republican Committee, Kevin Ryan, and Democratic County Legislator Maurice Brown. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me here.
We're going to go through a series of questions here. I'm going to start off and pose this question to both of you, but first I'll have you, Mr. Brown. What would you tell Syracuse voters ahead of this mayoral race, and can you kind of justify your endorsement?
So I'm supporting Sharon Owens. I think she's, ready to serve from day one. The city of Syracuse, we're facing a lot of challenges, and we want somebody who can go in and get it done right away. Like, we don't have time for a learning curve, so I think she's the best candidate to serve come day one, and that's why I'm supporting her.
Awesome. Thank you. Same question to you, Mr. Ryan. What do you say to voters? What's your message, and justify your endorsement?
Well, I think in terms of a learning curve, I don't think you'd have one with Tom Babylon having served in the Corporation Counsel's office for as long as he has. But I think the question for city voters is this. To paraphrase the great Ronald Reagan, is the city better off than it was 8 years ago? If it is, if you're happy with the direction the city is going, with the way crime is being handled, with the way funds are being spent, then fine. You should vote for Sharon Owens. But if you're not happy with the way city government's being run, then we might suggest a different course, and that's to vote for change. Vote for Tom Babylon. The city has been run by the Democrats for a generation, and I think that really it's time for change, and we need a new direction in this city.
You mentioned those past 8 years under the Walsh administration. Plenty of time to make an assessment of that administration. I'll turn back to you, Mr. Brown. What do you think is the biggest accomplishment of the Walsh administration over the past 8 years, and where do you think there's room for improvement?
The biggest accomplishment of the Walsh administration, that's an interesting question. I have not thought about that. I know generally he's done a lot around housing and just community development. We're in a housing crisis, and he made that a focus of his in getting that solved. What was the second part of the question? I'm sorry.
Where's the room for improvement, and what would you like to see for the next mayoral candidate?
So there's room for improvement in a lot of places. I would like to see the next mayoral candidate kind of take poverty head on. I would like to see more transportation initiatives. Vision Zero is currently sitting at the Common Council's desk, but it can save lives. Transportation and poverty are linked, where the shorter someone's commute time is, the easier they can get out of poverty. And we haven't taken it directly head on, and I think transportation can do that, and I think Mayor Owens is going to be the one to lead that change.
I'll pose the same to you, Mr. Ryan. Biggest accomplishment of the administration over the past 8 years, and where's the room for improvement?
Well, I'm going to echo the comments of my esteemed colleague next to me. He wasn't able to name one, and frankly, I can't either. If you look at the record of this administration, we have millions and millions of dollars of funds wasted on a payroll improvement project that never happened. Grant funding that never came through for District 15 because they couldn't get the project's paperwork submitted on time. We hear about the debacle with the way that the lead testing was done in the city. No accountability for that. How many hundreds of thousands of dollars were wasted in an effort to tear down a statue, which frankly, many citizens of Syracuse want kept up. I don't think there's been any accomplishments, any achievements, or any, frankly, record to run on. And quite candidly, I think the strongest argument that Sharon Owens has to run is the fact that she's a Democratic candidate and they enjoy an enrollment advantage. I think if the voters of the city look at the candidates, look at their resumes, look at what they propose to do, I think the choice is easy, that it's Tom Babylon for mayor.
I want to ask you, you mentioned Sharon Owens. Mr. Brown, do you think being unable to name an accomplishment of the administration in which she served as deputy mayor is a shortcoming in this race?
Negative. So Mayor Walsh is an independent, and his dad was, a long-term serving Republican. I understand the desire to pin Mayor Walsh's, record on Mayor Owens, but they're not the same people. She was a member of his team, and she had a job that she, served honorably. She led the police search to find Chief Buckner. She did what she was asked to do, and she did it valiantly. I think it's unfair to take, Mayor Ben Walsh, white man, young, and say that Sharon Owens is going to give you the same outcome. I just don't think that's logical, and I think the voters get that too.
Mr. Ryan, your response.
She said it herself. She's been at the right hand of every major decision of the Walsh administration for the past 8 years. She wants to take credit for all that supposedly went well, but every time there's something went wrong, she has nothing to do with it. I think that's disingenuous. And the mere fact that the race of the candidates, I think, is immaterial.
I want to move on now and ask about the race that's ahead of us. What is something that you haven't heard from the mayoral candidates that you would like to hear? What do you think should be focused on that's not being talked about in this race?
So I'm going to bring it back to transportation. Central's redesigning their bus routes, and I think the way they're going about it is productive. It's a real community conversation, but I think transportation is intrinsically linked to poverty. We talk about housing a lot. I want transportation to be on that same level with housing, because that is how you get someone out of poverty, getting to work, getting to their job, and being able to get home safely.
Mr. Ryan, what issue is not being talked about?
Well, I think that the Babylon campaign has done a pretty good job at talking about the issues that it wants to address should it be elected mayor. I would frankly like to hear the Owens campaign tell us what she would do differently for the past 8 years. Give us one concrete example of a major decision that she disagreed with the Walsh administration on. She said she's not the same person. You can't judge her by that same record, but her own comments say that she wants to be. So again, tell us where she's different.
I want to move on to some specific question for you gentlemen. Starting with Mr. Brown, neither Pat Hogan nor Cholma Joke have endorsed Sharon Owens for mayor. Do you think that she's doing enough to unify Democrats' support? And if so, why haven't we seen those endorsements?
I actually don't think that's her role to unify the Democratic Party. I have my own criticisms of the Democratic Party, but I think that locally our Democratic Party is in, shambles, if you will, and we need to rebuild. I do think she can be a part of that rebuild, but I don't think it's her job to save the current Democratic Party. It should save itself, and that would include, former mayoral nominee or designee Pat Hogan coming to the table and saying, I want to work with you, but he hasn't done it, and there's going to be no pressure from the Democratic Party for him to do it, so I don't see why he would do that. And I think until, that accountability is present, the Democratic Party is going to struggle.
Do you think he should go forward with that endorsement?
Do I think Pat Hogan should endorse Sharon Owens?
Yes.
Yes, I think because she's the best candidate in the race, not because of the party politics.
Mr. Ryan, the last mayoral race, the Republican candidate won by just 12%, or lost by, garnered just 12% of the vote. What's the path forward for Mr. Babylon in this race?
To do exactly what he's been doing, to come forth with a record of achievement and what he hopes to do when he becomes mayor. Remember that over 10,000 people in the city of Syracuse voted for President Trump last year, and if you take those numbers and you include the people who are dissatisfied with the Walsh-Owens administration and people who, if they take an honest look at the two candidates and their platforms, I think there is a path to victory for Tom Babylon.
I want to ask another question to you, Mr. Brown. Just kind of give you a chance to comment on this. You drew some criticism from Republicans following the 2026 budget vote. I want to give you a chance to respond, particularly about your vote against extending military pay and benefit coverage for active duty county employees. Your response.
Yeah, so we hadn't talked about that in committee, and the wording was off. It didn't look like it looked last year, so I caught that. And when I caught that, I was not comfortable voting. But, some people are comfortable voting with those details not mattering. I'm not. And the way it was worded doesn't protect veterans. But they basically did a double negative, and it made the wording confusing. But I have no problem protecting veterans, if it means I'm going to be the outsider. I am a veteran. I think that veterans deserve the best, and that's what I'm going to give them.
I'm going to give you guys each a chance just to kind of get your final statements, anything that you would like to say about this mayoral race or any of the topics we've covered today.
I would just like the voters of the city of Syracuse to take an honest, hard look at both candidates or all four candidates running, look at their records, look at what they choose to do, what they propose to do as mayor, and I think if you take an honest look at the campaigns, what they stand for, what they want to do, I think Tom Babylon is the better choice.
How about you, Mr. Brown?
Yeah, I think the voters should, do their homework. Look up Mayor Owens. Look up, what she's planning to do, her vision, her leadership. She was the head at Southwest for a long time. She has a real background in community development, and we're going to need a community approach. You're going to hear a couple of the candidates say community a lot because the community hasn't been involved enough, and I think she's the right person to bring us to the table.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brown and Mr. Ryan. We appreciate you coming on with us. Gentlemen, thank you. Next up, Citrus TV's Mayoral Town Hall.
live from the National Veterans Resource Center on the campus of Syracuse University. This is a Citrus TV Town Hall with the candidates to be your next mayor of Syracuse. And now, please welcome your moderators for tonight's debate, Luke Radel and Anjana Dasam.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us live from the National Veterans Resource Center. I'm Luke Radel.
And I'm Anjana Dasam. We're going to be your moderators for the next 90 minutes.
And we are joined tonight in the KG Ton Auditorium by a live audience of over 150 people. How's everybody doing tonight? That's incredible.
And for tonight's debate, you guys get to ask the questions whether you're here in the audience or you're watching live at home.
That's right. If you're watching us online, you can drop your questions in the YouTube live chat, or you can tweet them at us, X them at us, however we're doing that these days, with the hashtag CitrusTV Town Hall.
And without further ado, let's welcome before we do that, we're actually going to go over a couple of rules. Our audience in the room has submitted questions via index cards to be selected by Citrus TV News production team to cover a variety of topics. You may see them reading off that index card when they address the candidates. That is a question that they have come up with. It has not been edited by Citrus TV in any way. None of the campaigns have seen the questions in advance, nor did they have any say in the selection process.
Now, this debate tonight is open to the public, but we've asked our live audience here in the room to please be respectful towards everyone in this room and all of you watching at home. So we want the energy level in the room tonight to fall somewhere between a quiet study session in Byrd Library and a sold-out football game at the Dome. Essentially, you could talk above a whisper, but please don't curse out the refs, okay? Thanks, everybody. With that out of the way, let's meet the candidates to be your next mayor. In alphabetical order, please welcome Republican Thomas Babylon, Independent Alfonso Davis,
Democrat Sharon Owens, and Independent Tim Rudd.
Thank you all. Take your hands. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. You're going to go in this chair right here. Thanks for being here. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
We got everybody here. All right, thanks all for being here. Before we turn to our audience for some questions, you'll each have 90 seconds to introduce yourselves and explain why voters should choose you instead of your opponents. Mr. Babylon, we'll begin with you.
Okay, great, thanks. Good evening, I'm Tom Babylon. I'm the Republican candidate for mayor. I live in Holly Green, on the north side, probably not the neighborhood that most of you expect the next mayor to live in. I'm a father. I've got a 20-year-old daughter that graduated from Fowler. I've got a 15-year-old that's currently at Henniger. And I got a new baby that will be coming this December. So I've got a big investment in the city of Syracuse. Syracuse must succeed for all of us because I want to raise my daughter here and I don't want to have to leave. I'm also experienced. I'm an attorney. I've practiced law for 23 years. For 10 of those years, I was an attorney with the city of Syracuse. I ran the housing division. I was the attorney for neighborhood business development. And I was the attorney for labor and employment. I know how the city operates, and I understand what's wrong with it, and I've got ideas to fix it. But most of all, what I really love to do is help people, and that's why I want to be the next mayor of the city of Syracuse. I really enjoy helping people, and I think that being mayor, I can help the most people possible. I've dedicated my legal career to public service, and I want to continue to do that. I want to make Syracuse a place where kids and their families are not afraid to go out at night on the streets. I want to make it a place where everyone can be successful. I want to make it a place where we don't have to choose between paying our taxes or paying for groceries. So with all that, I really have a lot of great ideas, and I hope you check them out. I appreciate you all coming here tonight, and I hope I can count on your vote in November. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Babylon. Mr. Davis.
Well, thank you very much for having this debate. I think it's awesome. It is good to be up on this campus. Again, I was up here some time ago. I remember when I was the president of student government at OCC. Franklin Redd was the president of OSA. And we actually sued the Board of Election to give students the right to vote if you live here, if you went to school here, because at one point you couldn't vote because they kind of made sure. We actually took Ed Cizaniak to court and won. And that's why students, if you choose to register and vote here between the time you come 8 months, you could actually vote here in the city of Syracuse in the local elections. My name is Alfonso Davis, born and raised here in the city of Syracuse. I'm a financial planner, life insurance agent. I used to be a school teacher in the Syracuse City School District. I'm hopelessly in love with my city. And I'm a firm believer when you take the very least of them and raise them up, that everything in your city rises. I've worked on many political campaigns. I've managed Charles Anderson's campaign, Langston McKinney's campaign, and satellite campaign manager for Mario Cuomo. So I've been in the political process for a very long time. I'm a community activist. I love my city, but I know that this city can do better. A lot of people in our city are suffering. When 48% of the people, 47% of the people are paying 100% of the taxes, you cannot sustain your city like that. You have to have a vision, you have to have leadership, you have to have a skill set, and you have to have the ability to work to bring people together. Under my administration, if you bless me with your vote, we will make that happen. God bless you and thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. We encourage folks to register to vote. We have tables out in our lobby to do that if you're interested. Ms. Owens?
Good evening, and thank you for having us here today, and thank you for having us in this amazing venue. My name is Sharon Owens. I'm currently the Deputy Mayor of the City of Syracuse. I came to Syracuse from the Finger Lakes as a student here at Syracuse University in 1981. That may seem ancient to many of you. And was here from 81 to 85, where I earned a degree in economics. It was also then that I had the pleasure to walk on to the inaugural women's track and field team, powerhouse group of women. And I earned a scholarship to help me stay on this campus and be able to afford it my sophomore year. I had a great experience on this campus, but the best part of my experience on this campus started on my junior year, when I had the opportunity to do an internship at the Dunbar Center. And that is when I came into the city of Syracuse and fell in love with this city because I met its people. And that is what being mayor is all about. It is about helping individuals. My background is not-for-profit work, doing it for over 30 years, in kitchens and living rooms throughout this city. And then government came looking for me. I didn't go looking for government. And government said, we see what you're doing in the community and we want you to do that in City Hall. And I've been doing that under Mayor Minor and now under Mayor Walsh, and I am not done providing service to the people of this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. Mr. Rudd.
Hello, my name's Tim Rudd. First off, happy Diwali. I hope that this moment ushers in a period of great prosperity for our community. And I really echo what Sharon said. This is an amazing facility. And I'm born and raised in Syracuse, grew up in Eastwood, went to city schools my whole life, got to go to SU. We didn't always go to the basketball games when I was growing up, but we'd go once in a while. My dad would always park on Genesee Street. We'd walk up and we'd walk past Byrd Library. And it was always lit up, students always working, reading. And I really think that, seeing that, kind of like a night like tonight, rainy, dark, you're going to a game, you see the people just working, I think that made me want to learn, right? So I'm so thankful for this university and what it offers our community. It's really sad that not as many get to take advantage of it. There were 700 in my freshman class at Henniger, 350 graduated, probably 20 from that went to SU, maybe half of us graduated. But at the same time, this is a great resource. I also came back, I went to the Maxwell School. I've had about almost 20 years of experience in public finance. I'm the only candidate who was elected at large 8 years ago. I was on the council. My greatest point of pride on the council was carrying my 5-week-old child on my chest to most of the council meetings. That's what I will always remember. That's what my family will remember. And I think we need a leader who is going to prioritize that way, who is going to lead fearlessly and make the change that we need. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rudd.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciate it. We're going to get to our questions from the audience in a moment. Our first question will be from Truman C. So Truman C., make your way down to the microphone. But before we get to that, we're going to explain to you folks at home and all of you here with us tonight how the rules are going to work for tonight's debate. So we have some simple ground rules that all of your campaigns have agreed to prior to attending tonight's debate. You'll each have 60 seconds to answer an initial question from our audience members and 30 seconds for any follow-ups that we may have. You can also request a 30-second rebuttal once each of you has answered the initial question from our audience. Our role as moderators is to ensure roughly equal time for all candidates, a civil but spirited exchange between you all, and substantive, direct answers to the questions asked. For folks curious, you can look at our full debate rules as agreed to by the campaigns at CitrusTV.com. Our first question tonight, as mentioned, comes from Truman C. He's a student here at Syracuse University, and he has a question about how to get students more involved in city government. Truman?
Go ahead. Hello, everyone. How do you plan to engage Syracuse students in local government / politics as mayor?
Mr. Davis, you're going to begin first. You have a minute to respond.
Well, for me, it's about opening the door and making sure that you know that, one, your government exists. When I talked about you guys being able to vote in your local elections, that's an important process. You spend 6 to 8 months here in the city of Syracuse. And if you're spending that amount of time in a city, then you should be a part of the political process. You should know what's going on in your city because it affects you. Even though you're on this campus, it still affects you. Now, when I was coming up, Syracuse University used to try to make sure that there was a separation between the community and the university. It was this dirty little word that they said, oh, those are the townies. Well, those people are me, who are part of this city, and you are a part of this city. So for me, it's about making sure that you have the opportunity to if you're interested, being a part of the political process, knowing about city government, and participating, not just in a mayoral race, but local races, being a part of the process. And I will attempt to make sure that you have the ability to do that under my administration.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Ms. Owens?
In my opening, I talked about how the best part of my time at SU really began when I got off campus, when I actually ventured into the community and had the opportunity to do an internship and meet the people here. Many of the schools on the campus do encourage internships and opportunities for students to come off the campus. To understand the community, you have to come into the community. To apply your academic learning to the practical application of everyday people in this community. And the best way to do that is to walk down that hill, ride down that hill, to the neighborhoods surrounding this campus, so that you can learn more about what's going on here. As mayor, I will work with the new chancellors to ensure that that opportunity happens for all those seeking. And I encourage every single one of you, look into what you can do, how you can help off the hill. Thank you.
Before you answer, Deputy Mayor Owens, how do you think that the current Walsh-Owens administration has worked with the university leadership? You have 30 seconds to respond.
Absolutely. We have interns that are working in City Hall. Every single semester we have interns that are there. Also, it's not just City Hall, but it's also encouraging what has happened in the school district, in Onondaga County, across walks of government to ensure that students can be a part of learning about government, but also not just government, about the people who need government.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. Mr. Rudd, how would you get Syracuse University students more involved in local politics?
When I was here, I worked at the Center for Public and Community Service, which is named after Mary Ann Shaw, who was the chancellor's wife. I would say go there, find a volunteer opportunity, get off the Hill. People are always advocating for students here to come off the Hill. I really think that's about you, because it's really your opportunity to learn, to apply what you're learning. And hopefully, I would say you make a genuine connection in that community, and I would say bring them up the hill, okay? Because too many people in Syracuse are trapped without a vision of what exists up here and what up here allows you to access. And too often, we allow it to be, oh, these false divisions that separate really like the working masses of this country, make it so we can't achieve it. Everyone here can achieve it, but it does take work, and it isn't just fairy dust, right? We have kids who can't read, we have kids who can't count, they need tutors. There's thousands of students here. You should all be tutors, you should make genuine connections, you should bring them to a game. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rudd. Mr. Babylon, you're going to give your response in a moment. Will S. is going to ask our next question. Just want to make sure folks are keeping an eye on that monitor to come up to the microphone. Mr. Babylon, 1 minute.
Great, thank you. First, I think the question was, how am I going to engage with SU students? I think the better question is, how are SU students going to engage in government? And you guys have a campus of tens of thousands of people here. You got all 4 mayoral candidates up here, and we got 150 people in the audience. So how do we get students engaged in government? You guys have to understand, a lot of people think that they're just here on vacation for a couple of years. That's kind of how a lot of people are in college. I know that's how a lot of my friends were in college. And I feel a little disadvantaged because I didn't go to SU. I went to the University of Florida, so we have the same colors, so there's a little confusion sometimes when I walk around on game day. But you guys have to become involved. You have to understand that everything that happens in local government affects you, whether it be public safety, whether it be your right to go out and enjoy the city, whether your garbage is going to be picked up. So you guys have to do a better job of telling your friends to get involved with local government. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Babylon. Our next question will be from Will S. He has a question about Micron.
Thank you. Thank you for our hosts, and also thank you for our candidates for the important work that you're doing and trying to do. So this city and this community have seen wealth created before and then had the rug pulled out from underneath it. And there's obviously a lot of excitement with Micron coming and the wealth and the opportunity that might create here. But I'm curious, given the past, what would you do differently this go-round to make sure that Micron and what other businesses may come to this community are really putting down roots so that that wealth and that opportunity will be here sustainably? And in particular, of course, I'm curious about who you think the primary stakeholders in that conversation should be, other than Micron, obviously, because they're not in the city itself. Thank you.
Ms. Owens, you can go first.
When I left the campus, many of the friends that I had, that I met, were students of the families who had worked at New Process Gear, Carrier Corporation, GE, Miller Brewery, factories in this community that really made for a vibrant middle class, particularly a black middle class in this community. When I came to campus, most of my friends were the adults, the children of those folks who actually worked in those factories with their degrees. Those jobs went away, and there was no path for those individuals. We cannot make that mistake again. So here we are in the semiconductor industry now, and have the opportunity to really prepare. The people who we should be at the forefront are the individuals who are not earning engineering degrees, but those who will be able to come in entry level into these job, wage sustaining, family sustaining jobs. I will do what I'm doing now. Workforce development, engaging in workforce development, making sure people learn the skills necessary to be available for those jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. Mr. Rudd?
I'm not here to represent Micron. I'm here to fight for the people of Syracuse, okay? And, Micron. We have a poverty problem, right? We have the disproportionate share of poverty in this county. And we need more people to live in the city. Micron's an opportunity for more people to come to the region. The city needs to capture it. The highway coming down is an opportunity to build dense housing that isn't just student housing in the urban core. We need 10,000 more people in the next 4 years. We need 3,000 more housing units, okay? The people of Syracuse, the pathway is home ownership. That pathway is applicable to everyone. We have a land bank with thousands of houses. Syracuse residents need to be put in it. Ben Walsh and Sharon Owens seemingly have earned every penny they've ever gotten from the government. They think the government is the solution to our poverty problems. It is not. It's private banks. We paid $1 million for consultants to come in and tell us how to address our neighborhoods, and we didn't have a single bank lender there. We had one DEI person from KeyBank. There's no lending. We need the banks to come. We need people in Syracuse to own their homes. Everyone, black, brown, purple, white, everyone. Buy your home now. The values are going up. The city government can help.
Mr. Rudd, thank you. Mr. Babylon?
So Micron's coming. I don't think there's any doubt that Micron will be here. The job for the next 4 years for the next mayor will be to get people ready for those construction jobs, because it's going to take 7 or 8 years before they even produce a single microchip. So what do we need to do? We need to get our residents into training programs and make sure they're ready to do those construction jobs. There's a lot of great training programs out there now. We need to build on that, and we need the city to continue to build on that. Tim's right. We're going to have a housing issue, a worse housing issue than we have now in the city of Syracuse, and we need to make sure that we make the city of Syracuse a place where the workers of Micron want to live, because this is an opportunity for us to really expand our tax base, to really bring a lot of revenue to the city of Syracuse. And I'm running out of time, but there was a discussion about who the stakeholders should be. Certainly the county executive, the county legislature. This is their project, 90% of it, and they're going to be sitting at the table with me. Thank you.
Mr. Babylon, a 30-second follow-up. As the Republican running in this race, Republican leaders in Washington, like Speaker Johnson and President Trump, have said they want to repeal the CHIPS and Science Act, which helped make the Micron project happen. If Republicans in Washington took away our CHIPS Act funding, what would you do as mayor?
Well, I think that the CHIPS funding with regards to Micron is already set. I don't think they can withdraw that. I think they're talking about other projects, perhaps in the country. I believe that how we accept. I mean, it's not my grant. Okay, that's a county project. The city has little to no involvement in that project whatsoever. We have to be ready for that project, but there's nothing really that the mayor of the city of Syracuse can do to stop Trump from pulling any funding. But this funding is already established. It can't be pulled.
Thank you, Mr. Babylon. Mr. Davis?
Deputy Mayor Sharon Owens said something that was really true about Chrysler, General Motors, Cross-Hines, Crucible Steel, because I'm one of those individuals who worked at New Process Gear. That afforded me the ability to live where I live, to make a great living, because we had what many people called the Rust Belt. Syracuse was known as the Rust Belt. There was a lot of big businesses here, and a lot of people from where I grew up at worked at those companies. Micron, I think, is a great thing, but there's an issue. If you can't pass a clearance, if you can't get through a full background check, you're probably not going to be able to get a job at Micron. And I would say to you, probably I wouldn't get a job at Micron because my situation when I was licensed to carry my firearm, I accidentally went into the airport with it and forgot I had it. So many people won't even qualify to get a job at Micron.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Ms. Owens, I saw you were making a face during Mr. Rudd's comments. Would you like a 30-second rebuttal?
I appreciate that. I really do. My introduction said that I have worked in the city of, been in the city of Syracuse, coming from this campus for 40 years. I've received a check from government, almost 11 of those. That does not mean every dime that I've ever gotten is from government. It is actually the opposite. My family and I struggle financially because I worked not-for-profit work for over 30 years.
Ms. Owens, thank you. Mr. Rudd, I want to give you 30 seconds to respond. And also, you made a comment about a DEI person in your answer. What does that mean?
Diversity, equity, inclusion. Dang, you're running into my thing. Housing, poverty, man. You got to own your home. Because if the government owns your home, they're going to throw you out. Ask Sharon. Her whole strategy for the housing authority is to throw you out, demolish it, rebuild it for richer people. Hope you get to come back after you move in, buy your home, or else Sharon might throw you out.
Thank you, Mr. Rudd.
Our next question will be from Charles M., talking about food insecurity.
I'm sorry, I think we're going to start first with H. Bloodworth about high-risk youth and gun violence.
As a mentor for high-risk youth and an advocate against gun violence, how are you going to be effective in reducing gun violence? And do you think that the youth today are going to listen to what you have to say?
Mr. Rudd, you are the first to respond on this one. You have 60 seconds.
Well, I think we need economic growth, right? So for too long, it's been convincing that there's not hope at the end of the education path, that there's not alternative opportunities if you're not getting credentialed in high school and all this other stuff. I think we're going to have a lot more economic activity that has to convince people to participate in it. That might mean you need to hire somebody and give them a job, training them, I don't know, roofing, doing whatever, fixing the houses that need to be fixed so that we have housing in the city of Syracuse that people can live in that's safe. Will people listen to me? I mean, I think it takes our whole community. So I'm of this community. I'm just as flawed as any other person in this community. But I know the programs that helped me, things at McChesney, where we all came together and played basketball and rolled around and fought and learned to respect each other no matter what. I think those are really healthy still. We have a different environment with phones, and I think we need to do a lot to bring people together. I think we need social activities that bring adults with children and really build community across lines. so that we can go into our homes and have genuine connections. I think we're really isolated, and that makes the poverty worse.
Thank you, Mr. Rudd. Mr. Babylon.
So first, my daughter graduated from Fowler. My stepson is at Henniger now. So you ask these kids, who are the problem kids in school? Everybody knows the kids that are having problems because they're acting out, they're fighting, they're doing all kinds of things. We need to do a better job at outreach to these children. And we need to connect them better to mentoring programs. Now, where Sharon and I are going to differ, I don't think those mentors should be ex-cons that came back into the community. I think perhaps those mentors should be someone who came out of the community and was successful, and that they didn't go to prison, that they didn't do these things. And we had a problem with some of these mentors selling drugs at the Southside Community Center. So we need to make sure that we get these children and get them mentored. And we need to make sure we address these children, the ones that we know are problem kids. Thank you.
Ms. Owens, I'll give you an opportunity to respond to that in a moment, but Mr. Davis, you're going to be first.
To your question, in terms of youth responding to me, I'm from this community. I'm from the projects, better known as Brick City. A lot of them, I either know their uncles, their cousins, or their family. So I'm from these streets. I made a 360-degree turn because I have people who Sharon Owens worked for, Deputy Janet Spates, and others who really hit me upside the head and make sure that I went the right direction in terms of changing the course when my mother was murdered. I had people who poured into me. And so young people will respond to people who are authentic. I disagree with Tom in terms of not having individuals who are incarcerated that come out into the community who wants to give back, because who better to tell a young person who is going the wrong way which way not to go? And if you got young people or people who've been incarcerated who want to pour into our young people, I don't have a problem in having them participate and creating opportunities, financial opportunities for them to do that, because who will our young people better respond to? Somebody with a college, and I'm saying that a college degree isn't effective, but who got their skill set from a book, or somebody who got their skill set from the streets.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. We're going to ask you to stick to time. You're going to have a moment for rebuttal after everyone has already gone, but Ms. Owens, you have 60 seconds to respond to the question and also to what Mr. Babylon said earlier, please.
So Mr. Davis and I are in agreement. The ex-cons that he mentioned, we call them credible messengers. To the points that Mr. Davis made. They lived a life, they've come back. Not all of them, but some of them have decided they want to restore the community they tore apart by their activity. And so I'm absolutely there to welcome them, to train them, to get them engaged, to be a part of that. And I do believe in compensating them. If you're asking them to put a gun down, you got to replace it with something. We also are ensuring that in this community, can people relate to me? Many times I'm not referred to as Deputy Mayor. I'm referred to as Ms. Sharon, because of the work that I've done in the community for so many years. I worked with, like Mr. Davis said, their mothers, their uncles, their grandmothers. And so you might not have been born when that was going on, but your parents know me because of the work I did. And so now I'm here to help you.
Thanks, Ms. Owens. And Mr. Babylon, I'll give you a 30-second rebuttal.
Thank you. So Alfonso said, who better to mentor our children than people that are in the community, went to prison and came back out? I'm going to tell you, how about people that came from the community, were successful, graduated from college, or had a successful business and never went to prison? We had people, these credible messengers, selling drugs out of our community center, right outside our community center. They're arrested, sentenced to prison. These are the people, they might be good, but they also might be teaching our kids how to commit crimes. How do you avoid the police? How do you sell drugs? How do you launder money? Let's get successful people to be mentors and not criminals or not ex-cons.
Thank you, Mr. Babylon. Mr. Davis, 30 seconds.
Yeah, but I'll just say this. Listen, I'm college educated, and I know a lot of my friends who are college educated are mentors. They do make great mentors. But the people, older people who've gone to prison, who understand those traps, for our young people who are caught up in these streets, they will respond to them quicker. Not to say they wouldn't respond to young men and young women who are educated, college educated, and have the skill set, but they will respond to them quicker because they know the traps. And I don't know many mentors in my community who teach young people who they're mentoring how to sell drugs.
Thank you. Ms. Owens, can I ask you to give 30 seconds response to what we've heard here? And then also the Safer Streets program, which has been the topic of discussion, initially had a goal of 55 people being signed up. They only got 18, and it's been described as struggling by the Syracuse Post-Standard. Do you have any answer to that?
A couple corrections.
Okay.
It was 50 individuals. These 50 individuals weren't identified by me. They were identified by law enforcement because they're known by law enforcement to be individuals with high risk to use a gun. Safer Streets' goal, while there has been a lot of talk about it, was to stop individuals from picking up a gun to solve a dispute. And 48 of the 50 did not get rearrested for picking up a gun to solve a dispute.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. Mr. Rudd, 30-second rebuttal.
So I'm a numbers person. 90% of the kids in city schools can't count. 98% of the people in city government can't count. Okay? Sharon asked for money. She asked for a program. The Walsh administration does this all the time. They say, we're going to have a program. We're going to serve 50 people. We need the money for 50 people. They don't get 50 people. They get 18 people. 6 people complete. Then they take pictures with 3 of them. Okay? There has to be accountability throughout. If you're going to have a 50-person program, you got to outreach to 150. This is universal across the board. We have a lack of understanding on numbers, money, everything else that drives the poverty in this community.
Thank you, Mr. Rudd. And now we'll go to Charles M., who has a question on food insecurity.
Hello, everybody. My name is Charles Matlock, and I just want to say I am a 3-time convicted felon, and most of my time is spent educating the community around urban agriculture. So my question is, how do you plan on supporting urban agriculture and food insecurity in Syracuse? And I'm going to say the new grocery store in the Valley Plaza is not a solution.
Charles, thank you for your question. Mr. Babylon, we'll begin with you for a minute.
Well, Charles, first I want to say thank you for your mentorship. I appreciate that. But I think that you would also recognize that everyone that comes out of prison, whether they be a 3rd-time convicted felon or just a 1st-time convicted felon, may not be appropriate to be a mentor. And we saw that where we had these mentors selling drugs at our community center. So I hope you recognize that those were not appropriate mentors, and I appreciate what you do. Food insecurity, community gardens. I know that you're involved with urban farming, I believe. I think those are great. I'm very supportive of all of those things. We've got, we have programs to help food insecurity. There's a lot of food pantries. There's also a lot of smaller shelters. I'm all for that. I think that as a community, we need to come together and make sure that everybody's fed. And again, I appreciate your mentorship. And I wasn't coming at you. I want you to know that I wasn't coming at you. But I think there's better ways to mentor our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Babylon. Mr. Davis?
You have a minute to respond.
You have a minute to respond.
The new grocery store that they're building down in the valley, I don't think is the answer neither, because it's not going to be a full grocery store. There's a food desert in certain areas in our city. It just is. And the problem is that we don't have nobody who's really interested in coming in, putting money into these areas to kind of really invest in the community. But we have people in our community who want to open and start a grocery store. And I think we need to, under my administration, if I'm blessed to become the mayor of the city of Syracuse, I'm going to focus on finding some people with some capital investment who want to come into the community. And I got relationships with people in New York City, D.C., and Chicago, and Philadelphia, who have capital, who wants to actually do some business in the city of Syracuse. And I said, when I become mayor, I'm going to seek them to actually open up stores in areas in our city where there are food deserts so that we can truly look at how we better supply services to the people in the city of Syracuse in terms of good groceries and good quality foods.
Mr. Davis, thank you very much. Ms. Owens, you have a minute.
Answering your question, Charles, and thank you for that question. First of all, you are clearly going to hear my name evoked in derogatory manners throughout this thing, possibly every time by Mr. Rudd. When this is over, I will be standing right there for anyone who needs to ask me a question about what has been said about me on this stage. Food deserts. The grocery store is not the only answer. It absolutely isn't. But I'm glad it's coming. But I really believe the time of the big box grocery stores is past us. It is small, it's going to be smaller stores, and it absolutely has to be an eclectic food opportunity environment for us, including urban gardening, our urban farming. Our zoning law provides better opportunities for that, for us to use vacant lots for this purpose, and to provide support to urban farmers to do so, to feed our people, even planting trees that have fruit on it, so that's another source of food in our community.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rudd, 1 minute.
Charles, it ain't where you're from, it's where you're at, and I'm glad you're right here. All right? And I'm the only one who saw you at that Community Garden for Sustainable Agriculture event. I rode my little bike there, and I had the apples. I brought apples. I said, look, so many politicians, they show up with words. They're out asking for money so they can get yard signs and TV ads. I went to the community garden with the apples that my family grew in the community garden across the street on the south side, right? We got 5 kids in my house. We got 2 dogs, 7 chickens. Gardeners are artists, right? They don't need no money. We got vacant lots, and we need more artists, right? We need more gardeners, people who can take some seeds and some plants and cultivate life and show other people that life has value in this community, right? Because we may not grow up with it, but we need to have it, right? And whatever gets Syracuse to appreciate life, value it, cultivate it, respect it, we need to do it, right? So chickens for everyone, neighborhood farms, wherever. If I could get goats, let's do it.
A chicken in every pot. I feel like we've heard that one before. Mr. Rudd, thank you.
Thank you. And our next audience question will come from Amanda B., talking about superintendent in schools.
Thank you so much for being here and taking our questions. To what extent could you comment, and to what extent can the mayor's office influence the issue of the lack of a national search for the new superintendent, especially given the dire rankings of Syracuse City School District recently reported in the local media in math and English language arts relative to New York State? Thank you.
Yep. So the question's about the lack of a nationwide search for a new superintendent, given our dire rankings in ELA and math. Mr. Davis, you'll have 60 seconds to respond.
Well, I don't have a problem with the choice that the school board commissioners chose in terms of Ms. Odom as the new superintendent. She's born and raised here in the city of Syracuse. She went to school here in the city of Syracuse. She's got her degree in education here, and she's showed her worth. So could they have opened it up for a national search? They could have. We've done that, I think, about 3 different times that I can recall. But I don't think that the person that they chose is a bad choice. Yes, we do have to raise the level of our test scores in the city of Syracuse. And this is where your question comes in about participation. We need young people who are here at this college to come out and volunteer. Come and volunteer. We have several elementary schools, and we have 4 or 5 high schools. Volunteer and participate. Help change the paradigm swing by participating in the process in the educational system that will help. Because while they are doing the work, and we have some great teachers, my daughter is one, in the Syracuse City School District, but we need assistance, and you can help, and that's one of the ways.
Ms. Owens, 1 minute.
The decision to not go out is that of the school board, elected officials elected by you. I agree that I've had a good relationship with Jaime Alzea, Tony Davis, and now Pam Odom. And I believe she is an educational professional who has her heart set for the school district of this city and the children in it. I propose, and I'm going to be really pursuing, appointing an ex officio individual to the board. Non-voting, but ex officio. Our tax dollars, 2/3 of them go to the school district. I would like some insight into board operations. I think you do that by appointing an ex officio member of the board. So I'll be pursuing that when I am mayor. Thank you.
Ms. Owens, as deputy mayor, did you encourage Mayor Walsh to do that? To appoint an ex officio member of the school board?
No, I'm talking about Sharon Owens today, when I'm mayor after November 4th. That's what I'm going to do.
Mr. Rudd, 1 minute for a response.
Woo! Alfonso, how many mayors of Syracuse have been city school graduates? Ain't a one. None. None. You got Alfonso and me, and you got some more people who went to better schools. Sharon's been the deputy mayor for 8 years, and her answer is ex officio. Okay? I think my GOAT answer is better than that. Okay? Pam, the school has its own board. I will do everything to support the board and the new superintendent. Okay? We have a problem with being truthful about what's going on in our city. I don't think that's exempt in the school district. But you know what? It's really not my place, other than as a resident, eventually as the mayor. I would push those board members to be transparent with the issues so that we can find real solutions. I would partner with the superintendent to be transparent so that we can find real solutions. And I will do everything we can to have a school and community. The schools can't fix it without the community can't fix it without the schools.
Thank you, Mr. Rudd.
We gotta work together.
Ms. Owens, would you like a chance for a rebuttal?
I'm sorry, wait, before we do that, we're gonna let Mr. Babylon respond.
Mr.
And then we'll
Babylon,
have rebuttals.
please.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So my daughter went to Syracuse School District, and I had a great experience. I had great teachers, great administrators. Every time I had a problem, they addressed it. And frankly, I think we have a great school system. We do have problems with our test scores. We got a lot of problems with our test scores. Even our best performing school is below standard, below average. So how do we address that? The reason that our test scores are low are because our children are not being encouraged to have education as a primary objective. We've got to encourage them to want to learn. We've got to reach out and find out what kind of poverty issues they're having, what kind of trauma issues they're having at home, and find out individually why they're not performing well in school and address those issues. Because until we do that, our test scores are not going to come up regardless of who the superintendent of schools is, regardless of who's on the school board. We got to fix our kids. We got to make our kids healthy. We got to make sure that they understand that education is important, and then our test scores are going to come up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Babylon. Ms. Owens, rebuttal.
Hardworking teachers are teachers, therapists, social workers, and the like. They do it all. And so our children, as mentioned, we all agree, come from hard situations that really prevent them from being the best they can be when they walk in the door. The most important thing for their education is that they show up, that they're actually in the seats so they can learn. And so I know the school district worked on an attendance program this past school year. I will work with the district to do that more.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. Our next question comes from Mary Rachel Kay. She has a question about mental health and the police. Good evening, Mary Rachel.
Good evening. Thanks for being here. My question is, how will you enhance support for mental health diversion and crisis resources to de-escalate mental health-related calls made to the police?
And I believe Ms. Owens will be our first one to respond on this question. You have 1 minute.
Caught me with water. Caught me with water in my mouth. So for individuals in crisis, mental health, substance use, are homeless, in crisis, our police are trained to be law enforcement, to protect and serve. They are not mental health, trained to be mental health professionals. So what I implemented, Sharon, working with Onondaga County, was our diversionary response program. It needs to be expanded. So what this means is that if you call 911 and there is a person in crisis that is exhibiting crisis, the 911 center will triage that call to make sure, one, that the person is not a danger to themselves or to anyone else. The first person that needs to be on the scene is not an armed police officer. It is a mental health and substance use professional, and they are the first on the scene. If they need support, because the situation may be escalating, police will show up, but to support them. That program, we piloted. We think it was successful. It needs to be expanded. I will work with the council to do that.
Ms. Owens, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Rudd, you have a minute.
I don't think people in Syracuse call 911 when they don't have a crisis. I think they call 911 when they have a crisis for the most part. And you know, a lot of the time you might wait 2, 3, 7 hours. Sometimes you might have somebody in your home calling 911, saying someone is in my home, and they might not come. okay? And then they'll send a lieutenant the next day to apologize, okay? So if that doesn't push you into mental crisis, it might push you to the suburbs, okay? So first, we need the system to work, right? And then I'm pro-data, right? Also, the police, the first responders are not armed. Like, the police are, but like the paramedics, the crisis intervention, the counselors, all those people, they're not gonna go kick down the door to have a conversation without the police, right? So they're gonna wait for the police. So the police are a key element here, and there has to be like respect for the police up front, and I think we can do that, but we have to be transparent about everything, and we do need data, because the police are very talented people. They study, and if they have the data, they will do their best to be thoughtful in the engagement when they have good information on an individual that makes them more safe.
Thank you, Mr. Rudd. Mr. Babylon, 1 minute.
Okay. So first, when Sharon said that police officers aren't trained to deal with mental health situations, they 100% are. We spend thousands of dollars, probably tens of thousands of dollars to train our police officers to deal exactly in these situations. And the problem with what Sharon's saying, she said, oh, we're going to send social workers out, we're going to send mental health experts out. The problem is they don't come out, okay? I know because this happens in my neighborhood. You call the police, there's someone acting crazy in your street, and the cops come, and they show up, and they turn around, and they leave because they've been directed not to deal with these people. They've been directed not to do anything. So then, guess what? The social worker doesn't show up, and the person still acts crazy for hours. I know this because this happened in my house. We had a person running up and down the street crazy for over an hour, no shirt on, stopping traffic, running in and out of everybody's yard. Cops came, they turned around, they left. All right? Nobody else showed up. He walks down the street, drops his pants, and starts playing with himself in front of the apartment building. All right? We cannot allow this to continue. Our police officers have to be allowed to do their jobs. And this administration is telling them not to do their jobs. So I'm going to change that.
Thank you, Mr.
Police will do
Babylon.
their jobs.
Mr. Davis.
One of the biggest issues right now is that we are not at capacity in terms of having police officers. We're not where we need to be. That's one. The second thing is when you talk about mental health, police officers, when they come into the city of Syracuse, particularly in certain neighborhoods, they come in with this Gestapo attitude versus coming in to kind of see how they can neutralize the situation and help bring it to where it is to some solutions. And so when you come in with this Gestapo attitude, everybody is a criminal. Everybody, that's how they deal with people in certain communities, and that's just honest. People don't want to say it, but it's true. And it happens here in the city of Syracuse. And most of those areas are black and brown neighborhoods that they go in with this Gestapo attitude. So first, we have to hire more police officers, first and foremost. Secondly, we have to get more police officers actually patrolling the streets of the city of Syracuse. Right now, with the 367 police officers, there's less than 50 that control the city of Syracuse, all 3 shifts. That will not work in this city.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. And Ms. Owens, would you like a 30-second rebuttal?
Mr. Babylon is right. Our police officers, and we've done a good job of training them in crisis intervention training. So you're absolutely right. We've been able to do that for multiple reasons. 911 triages the calls that go into 911, and they're priority 1 to the lowest priority. My Amazon box being stolen, to me, is priority 1. To 911, it is active shooting. And so that is where our officers, when it's believed they're not showing out, it is the deployment from the 911 center that determines what calls they go to first.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. Would anybody else like 30 seconds? Mr. Babylon?
Please. So first of all, the cops aren't showing up because we don't have any cops. We're down 100 police officers in the last 7.5 years. And that's directly related to our current administration. One, because they don't support the police officers. We got people in the City Hall saying the same thing that Alfonso's saying, that our police are Gestapo. They're coming out there and they're terrorizing the neighborhoods. That isn't true, okay? We have to support our police officers. The second reason is because we created a residency requirement, and cops don't like that. They don't want to be living next to people that are arrested. They don't want to be harassed by these people because they, believe me, when you arrest somebody and they say, I know where you live, I know where your family lives, cops don't want to deal with that. Okay? And they also got their own lives. They already live someplace else. They don't want to sell their house. They don't want to pull their kids out of school to move to the city.
Mr. Davis.
Well, yeah, I hear you, Tom, but I experience the people that come to me and ask me to contact different people in city government about how police dealt with them. The Citizens Review Board, I helped write that policy. So I know what Syracuse police officers have done and continue to do within the neighborhood. And I'm not saying that they all are bad, but when you come into the neighborhood, when you come into the community, treat people with respect. That's all, period.
Mr. Rudd?
We have cops, right? We have 300 and how many? 70? 67 officers. But we got a do-nothing mayor who's a coward. He doesn't manage anybody. He doesn't hold anyone to account. Not the police, not the IT department, not the financial payroll, none of it, none of it. I don't know what he's doing, but he's not being the mayor, and Sharon's no different. That's why he hired her. 8 years. We're gonna get more of the same. We don't need more, we need to manage it.
We have a lot more issues to get to, a lot more of your audience questions to get to. We're also going to get to your questions submitted in our YouTube live chat. In just a moment, we're going to take a brief break and show you a preview of our upcoming election night coverage. Lots more to come. Stay with us right here on Citrus TV. For the first time in 8 years, the city of Syracuse is electing a new mayor. And if you want to be the first to know the results, join us in prime time as the polls close. I'm Luke Radel, and I'll be your anchor and managing editor, joined live in the field by Anjana Dasam, Ben Bascuk, Sophia DeStasso, Maura Vaughn, and Jackson Breslin. Plus, joining me in studio for insights and analysis are Isabella Galan, Roman Verna, Peter Berry, and Drew Matiazik. Join us 9 p.m. November 4th, only on Citrus TV.
Welcome to Live from Studio B.
Welcome to another episode of Culturally and Technically Legal.
Previously on Survivor.
Welcome back to the Esports Juice Box, where we break down this week's esports news into digestible sizes for easy consumption.
Nokia rocking through the night in Syracuse, where the music never ends. I'm bringing you the sound, the glory, and the trance. From classic hits to the brand new sound, OT is the heartbeat of the underground. With every riff and every scream, we're turning your living room into a rocking dream. You're watching OT and let the thunder roll. Hard rocking rhythms that will shake your soul. On the stage to your screen, we bring the fire. OTM television takes you higher. Guitars are shredding, the crowd's going wild. Syracuse vibes with a rebellious style. Locals are legends, they all take a stand in the world of rock.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Citrus TV's Town Hall debate here at the KT Town Auditorium. How's everybody doing tonight? We still good?
Yeah. All right, we're going to resume our audience questions, starting with Patricia R., who's going to talk about the Walsh administration.
Sorry, I don't think Patricia's up at the mic just yet. We have Patricia in the hall. We'd love to hear from you. If not, I can read her question.
Yeah.
Candidates, from Patricia, how do you explain all of the wasted funds by the Walsh administration, and what will you do to change it that you haven't done in the past? Mr. Rudd, we'll begin with you.
Sharon, how do you explain it? Where to begin? I don't know. The $10 million for a payroll system, no payroll system. 5 years, $10 million. What was the internet thing? There were going to be an internet Wi-Fi thing. How many millions did we spend on that? Man, we're good at press. I think that's it. I think it's that the mayor is a press-centered person. He's better looking than me, right? But sometimes you just need a little substance. You need a little grit. You need somebody with a pair of work boots who wears them and isn't afraid to get them dirty, right? We got a lot of things to address, and we've had, like, the whole of city government run by PR people. The chief policy person is a PR executive. Like, he does all the propaganda. It's just, how do we look? Don't worry about doing anything. Let's just keep talking about things and what might be funded, what might not be funded, and as long as there's an image, we'll go have it. Nobody gets anything done. We got to change it. It's got to be a new person who's going to do it. Otherwise, it's just going to be more of the same.
Thank you, Mr. Rudd. Mr. Babylon?
All right, so this administration has wasted so many millions of dollars, I can't even count right now. We could talk, Tim talked about the payroll modernization project, $10 million, okay? None of that needed to be spent because the county, before this all happened, went to Ben Walsh and said, hey, we'll run your payroll for you. It'll be very minimal cost. We'll just have to purchase some more licensing agreements. But Ben said no. All right, there's a lack of complete common sense in this administration. You guys probably aren't experienced in this, but most of the rest of the city is. They're tearing up sidewalks block by block. Sometimes there's 6 or 7 sidewalks that are brand new in that sidewalk they're tearing up. Along with that, they're tearing up all the ADA compliant intersections that they did just 5 years ago that are practically brand new. Why they're doing this is the lack of common sense. There's no fiscal responsibility, there's no common sense, and there's no accountability. We need to hold this administration accountable, Sharon Owens including, for all of the millions of dollars that were wasted, and we need something new. Thank you.
Mr. Davis, you're going to have 60 seconds to respond. Our next question is going to come from Piero, so if you're with us in the audience, Piero, make your way to the microphone. Mr. Davis, 1 minute.
Wasteful spending. Unfortunately, this administration, in my opinion, Ben Walsh has done a horrible job. With that waste of money, I would focus that money on focusing on my program or my idea or my concept under my administration with the team that I will bring about is supporting small businesses. I'm a huge opponent of supporting small businesses systemically from start to success. Using that money to actually grow your city, because every economist will tell you when you support small businesses and they grow in your community, that your city is stronger, your community becomes stronger, and you are able to really spew stuff and really able to lift up the very least of them to change the dynamics for everyone else. So under my administration, we will just focus on using resources to support small businesses and some other capital investment ideas that I have that you can read on my website.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Ms. Owens?
When I came to City Hall the second time, I came from Southwest. We had an automated payroll system. You registered yourself, and everything about how you got paid, when you got paid, the time you accrued was automated. I get to City Hall. We're a $300+ million organization filling out paper timesheets. I said, that makes no sense. So we went through a process to modernize the payroll. No shade on the school district, but it is clear that that process is not easy. I was the first to say that it was managed poorly. That's what leaders do, acknowledge where you make mistakes. The other thing leaders do is step up to fix it. And that's also what I did with colleagues of mine and an internal team that I give all credit to for rolling up their sleeves to put it right on track as we move from department to department to automate the payroll, which must have.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. Mr. Rudd, would you like a rebuttal? We'll go to you next.
Who?
A 30-second rebuttal.
It only became mismanagement when it became fraud, right? Once they started talking about fraud, Sharon got brave and said mismanagement, right? That's when the accountability started to roll. It took 5 years. Sharon said day one. Day one, I came from an automated system. 8 years later. 8 years later, we don't have it, okay? And that's not all we don't have. I'll just leave it there. I yield my time to Sharon.
All right. Mr. Babylon, you're next. Ms. Owens, you can go next.
So Sharon says she fixed it. What did she fix? $2 million grant gone, Another $8 million of the city money gone. They just asked for another $900,000. We still don't have a payroll modernization project. Nothing has been fixed. We don't have any way. They're still, in fact, I talked to a city employee yesterday. They're still doing the time cards. 7 years later, $10 million less. I mean, this is the epitome of wasteful spending. And for Sharon to say that she fixed it when absolutely nothing has been done is incredulous.
Thank you, Mr. Babylon. Ms. Owens, 30 seconds.
Please.
You'll be next.
Please. It is moving along. Every department is not automatically using a payroll system, but they are. We are moving along in that process. Where I stepped in is when somebody from outside city government and all of city government came and found me and said, there's a problem and we need someone to look into it. They brought it to me and I did not hide it. I've been called a fraud. I've been called deceitful. I didn't hide anything. I opened it up to be investigated.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. Mr. Davis, 30-second rebuttal.
I'm about solution-based. It's about solutions. What's the solution to the issue that we have? It's about solution-based. And under my administration, with my team, we're going to bring about solutions in terms of wasteful spending because we had a lot of wasteful spending over the past 7 years under Ben Wash. I'm about solution-based. We have a vision, and we will execute that vision when you elect me as the next mayor of Syracuse.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Our next question will come from a YouTube chat comment. Will candidates consider implementing stricter regulations against landlords who are opting to not solve property violations and only pay for fines while their tenants live in poor housing?
Mr. Babylon, you're first to respond to this one.
So I ran the housing division for 2 years at the city of Syracuse. There's a lot of things that we can do with regards to landlords that are slumlords that we don't do. We take them to court. We get huge fines against them. Sometimes fines many times more worth than what the property is. They just sit there as a judgment. We never execute those judgments. We, as a city, can take those properties away from these slumlords, but we don't. Why don't we do that? That's something that I'm definitely willing to do. We need to do a better job. Also, we need to identify these tenants that are in these slumlord properties, and we need to educate them about the kind of conditions that they're entitled to. Because a lot of people that are renting these properties don't understand they're entitled to good plumbing, they're entitled to electricity, they're entitled to all these things. And we need to get them into, if these things aren't fixed, we need to get them into housing that's appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Babylon. We're going to give all of you a chance to respond to this question from our YouTube live chat. Paula will ask our next in-person question, so Paula, make your way to the microphone. Mr. Davis, you have a minute to respond on landlords.
Holding landlords accountable in the city of Syracuse has been a dismal process. I would like to think that it could be better, and I know it could be better, especially the slumlords. But the other issue is that under my administration, when I become mayor of Syracuse, I'm going to dissolve the land bank, bring back the dollar house, get more people interested in buying homes to become property owners, and I'm not going to allow anybody that has an LLC to buy any of those properties because what happens is they live in Florida, Pennsylvania, Jersey, and New York City. They buy up property, and then they become slumlords, and we can't even get at them. So under my administration, I want people in the city of Syracuse owning those properties, and the caveat is that you have to keep the property for at least 5 years, and when you sell it, you absolutely cannot sell that property to somebody with an LLC who does not live in the city of Syracuse. We have to make sure that we protect the people of the city of Syracuse and have capital investment come back by having more homeowners in the city of Syracuse.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Ms. Owens.
I think we all agree that people who own property, particularly as a business, there's a responsibility to the people who live in those properties. Our administration and me, working with our corporation council, has not shied away from taking landlords to court, particularly landlords who won't allow us to inspect their properties indoors to follow our rental registry, particularly those. We defend ourselves a lot from landlords who don't want to follow the rules. So I will absolutely continue to push forward protections for tenants and to make sure that we are going after landlords. Tish James is a powerhouse in this state, and she has helped us on several occasions kick landlords out of not only Syracuse, but all of New York State. Thank you.
Mr. Rudd, you have a minute to respond.
I am a landlord. I'm a landlord mainly because I got sick of the crappy landlords on my block. Everything I own is on my block. There's a need for codes to do their job. There's a need for the government, when it pays, to cut off payments aggressively, right? I'm not afraid of having codes people, right? But you got to have it done. Like, I don't think they're getting managed any better than the police or the financial stuff. You know, that's why codes is a mess. They say they do stuff, they don't do it. They need to walk around, they need to see the outsides, they need to do that to get in, to get a warrant. Sharon mentioned something, I don't think it's intentional. And I think this is in like New York State. Like, anybody ever heard of NOAA, naturally occurring affordable housing? That's when like people like me, who don't have a lot of money, kind of own a home, and we recognize that the relationship between landlord and tenant is one of interdependence. Like, I need my tenant to do well, they need me to do well, and when we both do well, we do well. And we kind of get a symbiotic relationship. But these regulations at the state level are pro the companies. They're gonna put the individuals who own homes out of business, and they're gonna make it so you can't rent from any of those people, because they're not gonna own them anymore. It's making it so that hedge funds can come in and buy up all the properties, hire people. They want the codes, they want it hard, because they don't want us owning anything. If the city government doesn't fight for us, nobody will.
Thank you, Mr. Rudd. We're going to move to our next question from the audience. It comes from Allie, and she has a question about the Trump administration. Good evening.
Hi, everyone. How do you plan to work alongside the current administration, the Trump administration, successfully?
We're going to begin with you, Mr. Davis.
Working with the Trump administration, wow, that's a big question. As mayor of the city of Syracuse, I'm going to work with anybody. But the people that I will be looking to work with specifically would be Chuck Schumer and Gillibrand, because those are the immediate contact individuals toward his administration. And I will just continue to do what I planned on doing in my vision, executing our vision and moving the city forward in a meaningful way. Prosperity, bringing back capital investment, supporting small businesses systemically from start to success, getting rid of the land bank and bringing back the dollar house where you could purchase a house between $1 and $10,000, maybe at $20,000, but getting people in the city of Syracuse to buy property, to become homeowners, to become business owners, and focus on them. But I will work with his administration through my elected officials, and that would be our senators.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. A brief follow-up from me. We went through your Facebook posts before this event started, and you have a lot of posts on there about the current president. You're not a fan of his. At one point back in March, you said that his assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania was staged as a publicity stunt. Do you regret making those comments, and do you worry that the Trump administration could retaliate against the city because they see you as a critic?
No. Anything I say, I stand on. I stand on anything I say. Anything I say, I stand on it.
So you believe that that assassination attempt was staged?
I don't, listen. I own firearms. A high-power rifle with a bullet this long shooting at 200 to 300 feet from that direction. If it nicked your ear would be off.
Sir, a man died that day. Do you think that that man
did die that
staged?
day. I don't know. A man did die. But if his ear was nicked, his ear would be off. So I can't say that, but in my opinion, I just don't think it was real.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Ms. Owens, you have a chance to respond. 1 minute.
Working with the Trump administration.
To the Trump administration, yes.
Unfortunately, under this current administration, we get funding that comes from the federal government, whether it's to serve people or to help our infrastructure. We cannot exist without that money. The balance is going to be not sacrificing who we are as Syracuse. Approximately 80 languages are in our school district. That is a demonstration of the best of who we are, the diversity of who we are. This administration clearly does not appreciate that or respect that. So while we are balancing, and this is not an easy question, because the funding we do need, but we do not want to compromise who we are as Syracuse and who we are as a community. I agree with Mr. Davis. We have amazing, I thank God we live in New York State. We have amazing representatives, and I will work with every one of them.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. Mr. Rudd?
I really feel like the state of our democracy is like at risk. I mean, if you want to save the world, go home. I mean that sincerely. Like this is a non-traditional campaign. I'm not putting my yard sign out. I'm not talking to the rich people outside the city to give me money. I'm not boosting any ads on Facebook. I'm not paying the consultants to adjust the formulas in the Google search for which articles show up in which order. I don't want to do any of that, okay? I'm going to be the type of leader who works my guts off. Like, I'm going to pour out my heart for this city and get it done all day, and my kids are going to take the bus from their school to City Hall. And I'm going to go home with my family and prioritize it, and I'm going to celebrate that, and that's what we all need to do. And we need to grow from there. From our home to our neighbors, to our families, to their families, we need to build community, okay? And we're not going to get, if we're distracted by all the stuff happening up here, we're not going to fix this community. We have thousands of vacant homes and many thousands of residents who don't own homes, and we can't figure out how to get them in.
Mr. Rudd, thank you very much. I have a brief follow-up for you on this as well. You said that you were running a non-traditional campaign. You began your campaign by releasing an interview with a mentor in which you referred to Ms. Owens, referring to her as a slave breaker. That's not a quote, but compared her using the Willie Lynch analogy.
Think about that.
You also said,
think about that not being a quote.
You also said that you were going to use a dog whistle, that is a quote, in your campaign to attract black men to vote for you over Ms. Owens. Do you regret making those comments?
Sure, I regret the dog whistle. I don't regret anything else. And I didn't mean the dog whistle as anything but like a political strategist. Like Joe Rossi dog whistles all the time. He just would never say it, okay? And I'm not dog whistling nobody. I'm straight telling what I see, okay? If you don't like it, don't vote for me. But we got real problems in this community, and we got to acknowledge them thoughtfully and seriously. And read more. I don't know. It's a complicated issue. Race exists in this country. We need people. It's a 2.5-hour tape. I don't have no hate for nobody.
Mr.
Anyone
Rudd,
who listens
thank
to that tape,
Mr.
there ain't
Babylon,
no
you have a
hate.
minute to
There's
respond to the question on the Trump administration.
So, a minute, right?
Should be a minute.
Thank you.
Should be a minute, yeah.
So how am I going to work with the Trump administration? Well, first, I'm not going to call him a fascist. I'm not going to call him a Nazi. I'm not going to say his assassination attempt where someone was murdered was fake. I'm not going to insult him. You got to understand that we get millions of dollars from the federal government, several $1 million a year in HUD funding that we need to house people. We've got a housing crisis in the city, so I'm not going to do anything to jeopardize that. We've already lost a lot of federal funds this year. So that's how I'm going to deal with that. Additionally, it's great to work with our federal representatives, but the senators are in the minority. Our representative is in the minority. So while they'll be able to speak up for us, they're not going to get us what we need, okay? Not for now. And we got to deal with Trump for another 3 years. So don't forget about that. I mean, he's there for 3 more years. So I want to try and facilitate the best relationship that I can with him. I'm going to try and get the most money for the city of Syracuse that I can, because I know we've got a housing problem. I know we've got a lot of infrastructure needs. I know we need public safety monies. All these things we can get from the federal government. Thank you.
Mr. Davis, would you like a 30-second rebuttal?
So, Tom, and to you, I never said that the young man who lost his life was a fake. I never said that. I said that I believe that shooting of Trump's ear was staged and it was fake. Because again, I'm going to give the example of shooting a high-power rifle and your ear being nicked, it will be off. I go to the range, I shoot guns. It just would be. But if you look at his ear, one day the patch was here, the next day the patch was here. Come on, let's just keep it a buck.
Mr. Davis, let's be clear, there's no evidence that the assassination attempt of President Trump was staged.
There is no evidence.
Would you like a rebuttal for 30 seconds on any of what you've heard here?
Yes, please. Mr. Rudd was clearly upset when he went on a rant for 2.5 hours with, by the way, a landlord who sued the city because we wanted to inspect his properties. I'm a servant of the city. I've been a servant of this city since I stepped foot off of this campus. And I will not stand for my integrity and my character to be attacked. Because when it's all said and done, That's all I have left. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you,
Owens. Mr. Rudd, would you like 30 seconds to respond?
Yeah, I would love it. In that video, I also said I was going to be a rhino, Republican in name only. That wasn't brilliant, right? But it does highlight that I was a loyal Democrat up to that point, right? I supported Juanita Perez-Williams. Well, first I supported Joe Nicoletti, then I got on board, I supported Juanita Perez-Williams, then I supported Khalid Bey while I worked for Ben Walsh. Think of the treachery there, right? Like, I actually did that. So when I thought I can't win a primary, there's a fraud, these people are liars, it's never gonna get any better, there's no Republican, I should be a Republican, but
Mr. Rudd,
I should be a rhino.
Mr. Rudd,
Anyways,
thank
it was, listen, you can listen to the whole
We're going to get to a YouTube chat comment now about the STEAM School. The question is, as we celebrate the new STEAM School, what policies will you champion to integrate artists, makers, and cultural workers into this city's economic and workforce development strategies? I believe Mr. Davis is first on this one. Am I wrong about that? Mr. Davis, you start.
What's the,
As we celebrate the new STEAM School, what policies will you champion to integrate artists, makers, and cultural workers into the city's economic and workforce development strategies? You have a minute.
well, the new STEAM School is a great concept, a great idea in terms of getting other people to become a part of that process is great. But what I believe is that we need a comprehensive vocational program. That's what I believe. When we had Central Tech was a vibrant, comprehensive vocational program. I actually went through there. I took auto mechanics and I took nursing. Now we have these STEAM schools, which is great, but we do not have a comprehensive vocational program. So a lot of our young people aren't college bound or college material. But what they can do is work with their hands. And if we develop within the Syracuse City School District a comprehensive vocational program, we can get young people going from the classroom right to the workforce. Because right now we're losing carpenters, plumbers, electricians, and HVAC individuals because they are aging out. Under my administration, we're going to work to bring back a comprehensive vocational program so that we can get our young people who are not college bound to go from the classroom right to the workforce. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Ms. Owens, 1 minute.
To encourage creatives in our community to be a part of the STEAM School, my daughter is a creative. I will encourage the superintendent to contract them, to hire them to go into the STEAM School as subcontractors to bring their expertise into the school. I'm a huge fan of the STEAM School. It is going to be an amazing attribute to our community. We do have vocational programs. They're called our career and technical education programs. They are second to none. They are throughout the high school. They need to be expanded to the middle school. So we begin at the middle school as a phase to begin to introduce these areas of technology to our middle schoolers before they get to high school, so that when they're at high school, they can move on, go to OCC or through those technical, career technical assistance programs. Thank you.
I'm pretty sure the STEAM School is only open because Ryan McMahon knows how to break eggs to get things done. And if he wasn't sitting at the table, it wouldn't be anywhere near open. I also think the school doesn't have a boiler in it. So I really hope it doesn't get cold quick, right? But this, again, it's like, what was the enrollment supposed to be? What is the enrollment? And then what does it need to sustain itself? How does that come in terms of like operating and sustaining the school? The STEAM School is a great idea. Like 10 years ago, I said we should make a countywide science, like a Bronx science kind of school in Syracuse that people could come to. And it took a lot of people to make it happen. But I do think we declare victory before things are actually totally done. And we need leaders who are gonna focus, walk through, make sure the boiler's in, right? And we don't have that. Well, Ryan McMahon. I think Ryan McMahon probably knows, and he's probably working on it.
Thank you, Mr. Rudd. Mr. Babylon.
So I don't think anybody answered the question. I think the question was, how are we going to bring artists and makers into the city or something like that, right? Yes. I mean, I'm a big fan of letting the market work. You know, if we have jobs that need to be filled, I think those are the types of trades that we should be teaching in our school. I appreciate public art. I think it's very important when the city has grants or has money that they can spend on those types of things. I don't think the city should be spending money on those types of things right now, just because of the financial circumstances we're in. We've had 3 tax hikes in the last 7 years. The mayor tried to do 5 tax hikes, and those kind of tax increases impact everyone's ability to own a home. They affect your ability to qualify for a mortgage. They affect your home equity. They steal your home equity. So I don't think when the city is raising taxes at a record rate that necessarily we should be spending our public money on public arts. But yeah, as far as makers, I say let the market decide. If we have a need for makers that are coming out of the school,
Thank you, Mr. Babylon.
that's what we should do. That's what we should encourage.
Would any of the candidates like a chance for a rebuttal?
Okay, we're going to get to our next question from the YouTube live chat. This question comes from Kevin Thomas. If elected mayor, how will you approach the homeless situation and make Syracuse safer, as panhandling on busy intersections and in grocery store parking lots has become increasingly common? Ms. Owens, you have the first response.
Since COVID, because I've had conversations with the professionals in the field, particularly for individuals who were suffering with mental health or substance use, the treatment is not just chemical, it's social. So when the ability to have social settings to be in treatment went away, individuals fell off. And so now we see unprecedented numbers. Here's a fact. There's not one homeless shelter outside the city of Syracuse. There's not one supportive housing unit outside the city of Syracuse. I just learned that there's one treatment center in Liverpool. City of Syracuse is really taking on, and I don't like to use the word burden, but the responsibility of the most needy of our community for the entire region. We're taking it on, but at the same time, people who are not allowing those services in their communities point their fingers at the city and say it's a cesspool. It is not. We need to care for our most
Thank you, Ms. Owens. Mr. Webb?
We do carry the burden, the disproportionate burden of poverty, and we do carry the burden of care, right? And that's hard. And I have a heart, and I think we need to be really transparent about drug use. I think we need to be transparent, right? Like, here's what they are, here's the effects, here's what happens. And we probably need to discourage it somewhat, but we definitely, like, I was all for the legalization of marijuana and whatever, but I do think public consumption is something different. And as a father, as a family person, I don't think we can normalize the public consumption of all kinds of substances, especially in our downtown, and expect to thrive and grow. So I do think we need legislation, whether it be locally, at the state level, where we're able to get people who have real problems off the street and into some other kind of supportive thing. And we have to scatter it more than right now, because it's not fair to the city. And it makes it so we can't grow and we can't support the poverty. And really, that just cheats the rest of us who are committed to this community. And we shouldn't have to do that
Thank
to
you, Mr.
our
Rudd.
own harm.
Mr. Babylon, 1 minute.
Okay, so Sharon, from what I got, Sharon and Tim basically said what the causes are of our problem, but that they don't have any solutions. I've worked downtown for 23 years. It's never been worse. I've got 4 or 5 homeless people outside my office every single day. 5 times this year I've come and there's been human feces outside my office. There's frequently people sleeping half naked on the sidewalk in the summer. I've personally seen multiple people overdose over the summer. I had to call in a 911 overdose just last Friday. Someone fell out in Lemp Park with a needle right there and all their possessions. We need to do better, okay? Some of the homeless, the ones that are on the street are not going to accept services. We need to, the ones that will, we need to get them into services. The ones that won't, they can't be sleeping on the sidewalk. They can't be defecating on the sidewalk. They can't be zoned out like zombies in downtown Syracuse. We got to unhandcuff our police officers and let them handle that, okay? If we're going to have a vibrant downtown where people want to live, where people want to go and do
Babylon.
entertainment, we cannot have that. I'm going to clean up downtown on day 1, and I promise you that.
Mr. Davis, you're next.
Well, you have to have a heart. People who are in substance abuse, some of them are in conditions because of mental illness. And at the end of the day, if you don't have a heart, you don't have compassion, you cannot criminalize everything. So while Tom says, I'm going to just have the police handle it, you can't criminalize everything. You have to have compassion. You have to have a heart. When I'm your mayor under my administration, we will work with the city and work with the police officers and work with people to help. Salvation Army is great, but what happens when you put everybody out and they have nowhere else to go and they're just on the streets hanging out? We have to create other opportunities and mechanisms for them to participate in so that they're not hanging out downtown, so they're not defecating in front of your building. We have to do some other things to engage them. But you have to have compassion. And at the end of the day, under my administration, we will have compassion because everything cannot be criminalized.
Mr. Davis, thank you. Mr. Babylon, you can have 30 seconds for a rebuttal.
Yeah, so Alfonso says we need to engage them, but he doesn't say what we're going to do, okay? Last I knew, urinating or defecating on the sidewalk is illegal. Starting fights with people coming out of corner stores is illegal. Possession of drugs is illegal. Sleeping on the sidewalk is if it's not illegal, we'll make it illegal. Loitering in front of places that sell alcohol is illegal. All these things that people are doing are illegal. We have we have a drug court, and we have a mental health court. If people are not going to accept services on their own, we'll put them through the court system and they can accept services that way. We got to do something. We're not going to continue as a society, as a city, if we continue to allow our downtown exist like this. We're not going to grow, and people are going to continue to leave.
Thank you, Mr. Babylon.
Ms. Owens,
30 seconds.
War is never a word we should use against ourselves. There has to be an understanding of the role of the mayor's office. Safety net programs are administered by the county. The shelters are funded by the county in New York State. I believe it was Mr. Davis. We have to continue to do what we're doing now, work with the county and work with the state to expand the services. And the agencies cannot kick out people who have no skills to do anything else and wonder why they're just downtown. You have the beds, you have the space, let them stay there.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. Mr. Wood, one final rebuttal.
People in Syracuse love to throw shade at nonprofits, especially like the university. And I often defend the university because I think it brings a lot of value. But there are nonprofits that aren't such good actors. And I do think we should look at the data. We should be transparent. And I think there are certain partners that make a lot of money. I'll just say Helio Health. And I think we should be looking at the data, where the populations come that they serve. And if we're carrying the burden of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, other places, if they're ours, absolutely, let's take care of them. But if they're just placing people here because they have a program that needs revenue, then I don't know. I think we have some questions and we need to interrogate them and look at some nuisance abatement laws so that we have the resources to invest in ourselves.
Thank you very much. Folks, that is all the time that we have for you tonight. A lot of issues to discuss and learn about. There are 2 more debates happening. One on News Channel 9 and one on Central Current. We encourage you to watch those. I want to thank all the candidates for being here tonight, for our live audience, for all of you being here in the room, and for all of you watching at home. Thank you for joining us and for all of your thoughtful questions.
We also want to thank our partners who helped make this happen. Connect 315, which is an organization that links students on campus to the city and the surrounding community, just to talk about these important issues that we've talked about today.
To the university and to our hosts here at the beautiful National Veterans Resource Center, thank you for your support. Without you, this event would not be possible.
And the entire team at CitrusTV and our executive producer, Emma Poper, thank you for all your help in putting this event together. It couldn't have happened without you.
And to see more of our team's outstanding reporting, be sure to tune in weeknights at 6 on our YouTube channel for our flagship newscast, News Live at 6, which Anjana anchors every Friday.
And Luke will lead our election night special on Tuesday, November 4th, starting at 9 p.m. on CitrusTV, where you're watching this live stream, so don't miss that.
Just 2 weeks from tomorrow, you all will head to the polls to decide who will be the next mayor of the city of Syracuse. We'll have a new mayor for the first time in 8 years, so we hope you join us for our live election results starting at 9 p.m. We'll be the only local TV station live in prime time with local election results.
And the deadline for voter registration is this Saturday, October 25th. And as a reminder, SU students can register to vote from their dorm address or off-campus address.
I made that happen for you.
And from the campus of Syracuse University, I'm Anjana Dasam.
And I'm Luke Radel. Please stay with us for a special edition of Talking Points with Alex Burstein and Ben Bascuk. It starts at 8:30 on the CitrusTV YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us. Good night and go Orange.